Have you ever looked at one of those smart pill dispensers and thought, maybe I need that now? The kind that locks, beeps, lights up, and costs $200, sometimes more. And then there's the subscription, $10 a month, 15, for reminders you used to keep in your head. Be honest, does that feel a little unsettling? A few months ago, my neighbor Ron, he's 67, retired electrician, sharp guy, showed me the device his daughter bought him. Big plastic wheel, blinking lights, loud alarm at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. It's helpful, he said. But then he leaned in and whispered, I still forget sometimes. That stuck with me. Because the promise is simple, right? You pay a couple $100 and suddenly you never miss a dose again. But real life doesn't work that way. You're in the kitchen, phone in the other room, or you're out walking, or the alarm goes off and you think, I'll take it in a minute, and then, poof, it's gone. Here's the part nobody talks about. Most of these expensive devices don't actually solve the hardest part of medication routines. They remind you, but they don't adapt to you. Your schedule changes, your sleep changes. Some days you're sharp, other days you're distracted, and the device? It just keeps beeping. So I started wondering, what if something cheaper, something smarter, could actually do a better job? Not another gadget, not another monthly fee, just something you probably already have, your phone. So I ran a simple experiment. 30 days. No smart dispenser. No paid reminder service. Just a free AI app, something like ChatGPT, and a basic alarm system. That's it. No fancy setup, no tech background required. And I told myself, if this doesn't work, I'll admit it. I'll go back to recommending the expensive option. But if it does work, if a free AI can actually keep me consistent, then we need to talk about why people are still spending $200 on plastic timers. Because after 50, routines matter more than ever. Not perfectly, not obsessively, just consistently. And if something simpler can help you stay on track without making you feel like you've lost control, that's worth testing. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what happened, what worked, what didn't, and the one small change that made this system better than anything I've tried before. But before I walk you through exactly what I did, you need to understand why the old way costs so much, and why most people never question it. Before I walk you through exactly what I did, you need to understand what you're actually paying for with those $200 smart pill dispensers. Because it's not just the plastic, it's the promise of structure. When companies design these devices, they're solving three main problems. First, timing, making sure something reminds you at the right hour. Second, organization, separating pills by day and dose. And third, accountability. That little beep or flashing light that says, hey, don't ignore this. And to be fair, that matters, especially after 50, when routines get more complex. Maybe it's blood pressure medication in the morning, something else after dinner, vitamins somewhere in between. It adds up. So the device becomes a kind of external brain. But here's where the money goes. You are paying for hardware, motors, locks, compartments. You are paying for a brand name. And often you are paying for simplicity. Something that works without needing to learn anything new. That's the appeal. But there's a trade-off. Because these devices are fixed systems. They don't ask you questions. They don't adjust if you wake up later than usual. They don't notice patterns like, you keep delaying your evening dose on Tuesdays, or you missed 3 reminders this week around lunchtime. They just repeat. Same time, same alert, every day. And most people assume that's enough, that consistency equals success. But what I found, and what Ron admitted quietly, is that reminders alone don't build habits. They interrupt you. There's a difference. So I started asking a different question. What do we actually need from a medication reminder system? Not the marketing version, the real version. We need something that reminds us, yes, but also something that fits our day, something that can nudge, not just alert, something that can adjust when life gets messy. And ideally, something that doesn't cost a couple $100 upfront. That's where the AI comes in. Now, I'm not talking about anything complicated. No coding, no technical setup. I used a basic app, again, something like ChatGPT, and paired it with the alarm clock already built into my phone. That's it. Here's the idea in plain language. Instead of relying on a single loud reminder, I created a simple system where the AI acts like a lightweight assistant. Not a doctor, not a replacement for professional advice, just a structured way to stay consistent. So I opened the app and typed something like this. I take medication at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Help me build a daily routine with reminders, simple check-ins, and a way to track if I actually took them. That one message did more than I expected. The AI helped me break it into steps. Morning trigger, evening trigger, a short checklist, even a backup plan for when I am not at home. It suggested using multiple layers, not just one alarm, but a sequence. For example, an 8 a.m. alert, then a follow-up at 8:10 if I hadn't confirmed. And a simple habit, say it out loud, I've taken it, and mark it off. Small things, but they add friction in the right direction. Now, before I started, I set a few clear rules for the experiment. 30 days, no exceptions. Rule 1. I would only use my phone, no pill dispenser, no paid apps. Rule 2. I would follow the AI's suggested routine exactly for the first week, even if it felt unnecessary or repetitive. Rule 3. I would track misses honestly. If I forgot, I wrote it down, no pretending. And Rule 4. I would not change my medication schedule or dosages. That stays between me and my doctor. This experiment is about reminders, not medical decisions. That part is important, because this system is not here to replace professional care. It's here to support the daily routine around it. So the goal wasn't perfection, it was consistency. Could I go from I think I took it to I know I took it? Could I reduce those moments of doubt? And maybe more importantly, could I do it without adding stress, without adding another device to manage, and without spending another dollar? That was the test. And going in, I'll be honest, I was skeptical. Because simple sounds good, free sounds good, but simple and reliable, that's a higher bar. And in the first few days, it didn't go the way I expected. Some parts worked immediately, others were surprisingly frustrating. And one small mistake almost made me quit the whole thing. So in part 3, I'm going to walk you through exactly what happened day by day, what the screens looked like, what I actually typed, what I ignored, and what finally clicked. Because the difference between a system that sounds good and one you actually stick with, it comes down to details most people overlook. Day 1 felt almost too easy. I set my 8 a.m. alarm. I opened the AI chat. I followed the little checklist it helped me create the night before. Alarm goes off. I walk to the kitchen. Pills are right there. I take them. I tap a quick note into the app. Taken. Done in under a minute. And I remember thinking, is that it? Because if you've ever used one of those smart dispensers, you expect a whole production. Lights, sounds, compartments turning. This felt quiet, almost too quiet. Day 2 is where reality showed up. The alarm went off while I was still in bed. I hit snooze, told myself I'd get up in a minute. 10 minutes later, I was scrolling my phone, completely forgetting why the alarm went off in the first place. That's when the second layer kicked in. At 8:10, another alert. Not loud, just a simple label. Did you take it? And that small question did something the first alarm didn't. It made me pause, because it wasn't just noise. It was a prompt. So I got up, took the medication, and typed, "Done, just took it," into the AI chat. Now here's something I didn't expect. The AI responded with a short confirmation and a reminder. Great, same time tonight. If you are not home, keep a backup plan. It sounds basic, but it felt different than a device. It felt like a loop was closing. Day 4 is where I made my first real mistake. I was out running errands in the evening. Grocery store, then gas, then a quick stop to pick something up for Ron. The 8 p.m. alarm went off while I was driving. I thought, I'll take it when I get home. You already know what happened. I got home, carried in bags, turned on the TV, and completely forgot. No blinking machine on the counter. No loud beeping box demanding attention. Just silence. And that silence is dangerous. At 9:15, I happened to check my phone and saw the missed reminder. That's when it hit me. This system only works if I design it for real life, not ideal life. So I went back into the AI chat and asked a better question. What should I do if I'm not home when it's time to take my medication? The answer changed everything. It suggested something simple. Create a travel trigger. Keep a small backup dose in a labeled container. Set a location-based reminder if possible. And add a rule. If I'm not home at the scheduled time, I take it at the first safe stop. Gas station, parking lot, anywhere appropriate. Not later. That adjustment alone fixed one of the biggest gaps. By the end of week 1, I had a rhythm. Morning was easy. Evening was inconsistent, but improving. Now here's where things got interesting. Around day 10, I started noticing patterns. I wasn't missing randomly. I was missing when my routine broke. Late dinners, unexpected plans, anything that shifted my usual flow. So I asked the AI to review my notes, not in a complicated way, just a simple question. Based on what I've told you, when am I most likely to forget? The response pointed right at evenings with variability. And it suggested something I hadn't considered. Instead of tying the reminder strictly to the clock, tie it to an event, dinner. Not 8 p.m. exactly, but after I clear my plate. So I kept the 8 p.m. alarm as a backup, but I added a new habit. As soon as dinner ended, I would say out loud, medication next, before leaving the table. It felt a little strange at first, but it worked, because it attached the action to something I already do every day. By week 2, I had fewer misses, but I also noticed something else, annoyance, not with the AI, but with the repetition. Typing taken twice a day started to feel like a chore. So again I adjusted. I asked for a simpler tracking method. The AI suggested using a quick tap note or even a single emoji, something fast, almost automatic. So I switched to a checkmark. One tap, done. That small change removed friction, and when friction goes down, consistency goes up. By week 3, the system felt normal. No big effort, no thinking about it, just a quiet sequence. Alarm, action, confirmation, and occasionally a course correction when life got in the way. But it wasn't perfect. There were still 2 missed doses in the entire 30 days. Both on days when I ignored the follow-up prompt. Both on days when I told myself, I'll do it in a minute. That habit, the delay, is still the weak point. No device fixes that completely. No AI either. But here's the difference. With the AI system, I could see exactly where things broke. I could adjust in real time. I wasn't locked into one rigid setup. And that flexibility, that ability to tweak small things as I went, that's something no $200 dispenser ever gave me. So by the end of the 30 days, I had a clear picture, not just of what worked, but why it worked. And in part 4, I'm going to break down the results. who this is actually good for, who should probably stick with a traditional device, and the one simple setup you can try today without buying anything to see if this works for you too. So after 30 days, here's the honest result. I didn't become perfect, but I became consistent, and that's the part that matters. Before this experiment, I had those moments you probably recognize. Standing in the kitchen thinking, did I take it already? Or was that yesterday? That quiet uncertainty. By the end of the 30 days, that question almost disappeared. Not because I suddenly had a better memory, but because I had a simple system that closed the loop every time. Alarm, action, confirmation. No guessing. Now let's talk numbers, because that's what got my attention in the first place. The smart dispenser Ron showed me cost just over $200. Add even a small monthly service fee, and you're looking at $300 to $400 over a year. My setup? Free. The same phone I already owned, a basic alarm clock, and an app like ChatGPT that cost nothing to start. That's a big gap. But price alone doesn't decide this. What matters is, does it actually work for you? So here's who I think this approach is perfect for. If you're over 50 and still fairly comfortable using your phone, this is a strong option. If your schedule changes from day to day, even better, because flexibility is where this system shines. If you've ever felt annoyed by rigid reminders that don't match your real life, this solves that. And maybe most importantly, if you don't like the idea of adding another device to your counter, another thing to charge, another thing to learn, this keeps everything simple. But let's be clear about who this is not for. If you have serious memory challenges, where you regularly miss entire parts of your day, a physical system with locked compartments and louder alerts might still be safer. If you're managing a very complex medication schedule with multiple doses that must be taken at precise intervals, you may need something more structured, possibly supervised. And if you tend to ignore your phone notifications entirely, this won't magically fix that. Because at the end of the day, no system works if you don't engage with it. Now I want to say something important, because this matters. This entire story is my personal experience. It's not medical advice. It's not legal advice. It's not individualized financial advice. I'm not your doctor, and this is not a recommendation to change any medication, dosage, or treatment plan. If you have questions about your medications, timing, or safety, that conversation belongs with a licensed healthcare professional. What this is a practical routine, a way to support consistency around the plan you already have. Nothing more, nothing less. Now, with that said, here is the simple version you can try today. No setup guide, no complicated steps, just this. Set one alarm for your usual medication time. Then set a second one 10 minutes later with a question. Did I take it? Open an AI app and type one sentence. Help me stay consistent with my daily medication routine. That's it. Start there. You don't need to build the perfect system on day one. You just need to notice what happens. Do you respond to the second prompt better than the first? Do you forget when your routine changes? Do you feel more certain after you confirm it? Those small observations are where the real improvement comes from. Because what surprised me most about this experiment wasn't the technology. It was how small adjustments made the biggest difference. Not louder alarms, not more expensive tools, just better timing, better prompts, better awareness. After 50, you don't need complexity. You need reliability. Something that fits into your life, instead of forcing your life to fit around it. And sometimes the simplest tools, when used the right way, end up doing a better job than the expensive ones sitting on the shelf. So if you've been hesitating, if you've been thinking, maybe I should buy one of those devices, try this first. Give it a week. See what actually happens. Because you might find, like I did, that the thing you already have in your pocket is more capable than you expected. Not perfect, but consistent enough to make a real difference.